let's jump down to this next one. So we've seen some calls for Sekiro Shadows Die Twice to potentially get an easy mode. So the main article that this came from was written by Dave Tier. He's a contributor to Forbes. And this was titled Sekiro Shadows Die Twice needs to respect its players and add an easy mode. And in this article, he argues that there are players without the commitment, drive, or quick reaction times needed to complete the game and will never be able to beat it. He also makes the claim that the existence of an easy mode would have no bearing on the original game at all, as players could still play it, with the normal difficulty if they choose to do so. I kind of get what he's saying. I have Sekiro. I love From Software's games, and I love the Souls series. It is really hard. Like, I'm having a lot of trouble with it. I think it's actually like more difficult just from like the combat system switch to like a super fast-paced Sekiro versus like a shield-heavy Dark Souls. And I have two main points. Like, one, the difficulty is up to the developer. Like, they're the ones providing the game to you and want like you to experience like the game in the version that they intended you to do or to play it in. And like when it comes to like a Souls game, like I feel like the whole game's built around the difficulty. Like if you make it way easier, like a player's just gonna fly right through it, and then like what game are you really left with at that point?
Yeah. It's a perfect point. I mean it really is up to the developer. Their vision, how they expect you to see and experience. What they're producing for you. I mean, that's what you're paying for. You want their intentions. I think. In easy mode, I get you. This guy wants people to be able to beat the game and apparently get to the end of it. But some games it's like it's more about the journey than the destination, right? In some instances, I mean, granted, I'm sure this game is incredibly hard. I haven't played this one, but I played From Software's other iterations, almost all the Souls games, and I also really enjoy them. But I couldn't even imagine putting in a lower difficulty on any of those games because it just wouldn't be this game. It wouldn't be anywhere near as enjoyable. I can honestly say I think that there is no way that the games would be anywhere near as successful if you had that lesser difficulty option. Because I'm sure at any point, anybody that's played the games would probably cave in and switch over to it. And just face roll the rest of the game and just kind of cheat themselves out of it. That's my opinion, at least.
Yeah. Good points. Very good points. I think that, it's an art form and we should not be imposing on the developer, especially when we're dealing with a really successful developer who's made some really good games and kind of made like their own hardcore genre here, and that's what it is, right? And I get it, and the thing that concerns me is like you have to look at like where's this guy coming from? Like it sounds like he's coming from a position to like, oh, let's get everybody to enjoy this. But really, I think what's going on here is that he has an ideology in his head, and that's inclusiveness. It has to be available to everybody. Everybody should be able to beat it. Oh, like that's why he's doing this. He's not doing this because he truly thinks that, he wants everybody to experience it. And it's probably a great game. It's beautiful. They would love the story. No, he's thinking we need to get everybody on there. That's the way it has to be. So that's why I don't like it. And like I said, it's an art form. Let's stop imposing on the developers. They're selling a lot of these games. They're making a lot of money. This game is a huge success from a sales standpoint, from what I've heard. So let's just leave them alone. I understand people want to play the game and beat it. I understand the easy mode thing, but there's no way that you should be trying to force it on the developer, like for your ideas.
Yeah, I think that those are all great points, Adam. I really liked what you said about like the journey and not maybe the destination. I think that that's really true, and like I think that people need to remember that like games are still games. At least I think they are. I'm not really sure anymore, maybe, but like you do like are still supposed to play them, and like have like a little bit of a challenge. I think like they're interactive. Like if you want to just watch like gameplay Sekiro, then hop on Twitch or go watch a YouTube playthrough. If you just want to see the art or the story or something, go ahead. Like that's fine, but like you do still need to like be able to play a game if you buy it.
It's almost
yeah.
like this different mentality now. I don't know. When we were younger, I felt like games, a lot of games were like really difficult. You know, on those original like the Nintendo and Super Nintendo and Sega, like that. You know, that era of video game where I would say the vast majority of those games I saw the ending and they were far too difficult for me to ever complete. But you know, I wasn't like totally turned off from video games, and I wasn't like, damn, they need to put like easy mode in this. Like,
Hmm.
it just made you want to play them more.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's kind of addicting
Got
sometimes.
yeah, got tougher skin. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
You might, your mom might be yelling at you. You got to go to bed, and you're trying to beat something. And you're like, I'm gonna beat that tomorrow. You remember that feeling?
yeah.
I mean, isn't like the definition of a game like that it is challenging and there are like certain
Mm.
rules and boundaries built in and you need to like figure out how to like beat different scenarios within that format? Like, isn't that what a game is? Like, isn't that like what
Yes.
basketball is? Like,
Mhm.
isn't that like what a video game is? Like, isn't that
Mhm.
what chess is?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you got to want something. I mean, it's got to be desirable. And I mean, in this case, the desirability is like the difficulty. I mean, that's what's appealing about these games, that they're so difficult that, you know, when you do manage to complete them or do something, you get a much greater sense of achievement. And to kind of build on that, that when you get to a certain point in a game, you learn like the ins and outs, all of its mechanics, and it becomes really easy to you. I honestly feel like that's when, you know, I kind of fade away from the game altogether, whether I finished it or not. It's just not fun anymore. There's no point in, you know, at least for me, like just totally face rolling all over a game. I just don't. I don't see why I would play it at that point. And I'm not saying that this guy's saying, Dave here saying that they need to make the game so easy that everybody's going to be able to beat it. But I
Yeah.
don't think From Software needs to cave on this, and I hope they don't.
Right. Yeah. I don't think they will. I think they're going to stand strong against this one. But Matt, you made a really good point. These games, they have rules, they have boundaries. Guess who establishes those? The developers. You know, it's their art. They establish, you know, the boundaries, the rules, you know, the characters, etc., etc. And like it's you're stepping into their world, right? It's not your world. So either like figure out how you're going to get better at the game in order to beat it, and like you're going to feel better about it. You know what I mean? Like that journey's going to be better if you get to the end and you get that feeling of accomplishment of doing something difficult.
Yeah. I mean, like, there needs to be different games for different people, I guess is my last point here, just like to close it off. But like, if you want a really difficult and challenging game that's rewarding, then play Sekiro. If you don't want that, then don't play Sekiro. Go play Super Weenie Hot Generals or something, you know?
It's a good one.
But I mean, seriously, like, you know, you don't have to play Sekiro if it's too hard for you. Like, just play something different. You know, that's okay too.
You're right.